you guys have been camping for a long time, or maybe you live in your RV full-time like we do, you've probably done a good bit of modifications to these things. Well, today we're going to talk about some DIY modifications that you can do yourself that are pretty simple and easy that are going to make a big difference.
So, are we too young to fall in love? Sometimes.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Why Wait. I'm Chris, and today I just want to talk to you about a couple, DIY modifications, projects that you can do around the RV. Pretty easy, pretty cheap, that'll make a big difference. And the first one I want to talk about is this right down here. And in case you're not too sure, this is a heated water hose that you can make yourself. We had previously been buying the heated water hoses. I seem to think that they're a little bit too costly, in my opinion, for the quality that you get. Even when you tend to spend a little bit more money, they still all seem to have really bad reviews. Most of the time, people are saying they only last about a season. That was the case with us. Ours did not last long at all. And it's not so much with the heating elements. A lot of times it's just the hose itself seems to be a cheaper hose. The fittings, they start to leak. Ours had a puncture in it. No matter what I did, I could not tape it up. I could not seal it up. There's too much pressure. So I thought, let me just make my own heated water hose and see how it goes. Well, I made this one last year. I used it throughout the whole winter here in North Georgia in the mountains. Never had any issues with it. It lasted. It's been working great. So let's just touch base real quick on how to make this. And it's pretty easy, pretty cheap. And I think it's going to last a little bit longer than a regular heated water hose. And it's going to save you some money too. Now listen, I know the idea of RVing or even full-time RVing is not to be camping anywhere where it's too cold. You want to follow the sun, but that's not always the case. And you can't always make that happen. So if you are somewhere where you do need a heated water hose throughout the season, let's go ahead and check this out.
The first thing you're going to need is a heating element, and since I'm scrapping this hose, the hose is bad, but the heating element's not, so I'm going to save that. I'm going to use this right here. I'm just going to cut away this sheath, pull this out of here, and reuse this. You can get these on Home Depot, Lowe's, Amazon. I'll put some links down below. Again, I'm just going to repurpose this one right here. Here's the thermostat. It still works. Plug it in, make sure it still works. A new water hose, it's about a 10-foot section. You can make this as long as you want. You're going to need some pipe wrap insulation tape and some foam pipe insulation. And that should be everything you need to make a good heated water hose. I'm going to take that heating element, I'm going to wrap it around the hose here, just tape it off in a few spots to hold it in place. Next, we're going to take the hose and we're going to tuck it right into this foam pipe insulation right here. And make sure you leave some room for that thermostat to stick out though, so it's not caught up inside here. As you can see, the hose just tucks in there real nice and easy. Again, depending on how long you want to make your hose, how long you need the hose. And you just pull back on this plastic and it's going to reveal these two sticky edges, and you're just going to firmly press this together to seal up that foam. Once you have that hose all tucked in there nice and neat, we're going to take the pipe wrap insulation tape. We're going to go ahead and start taping this hose up here. And this is just an extra layer to keep water out and keep things a little bit nicer and toastier inside there. Again, this campsite is nice because the water pipe is buried underneath the ground, so all I have to do is pack some insulation around here where you turn the water on to keep that a little bit warm. Again, keep that thermostat out in the elements so it triggers and comes on when it gets to about 45 degrees or so. I believe that's when these kick on. And these don't get too hot, they just get warm enough to keep that water from freezing up. And I will cover this with a bucket or something just to keep water from getting down there, and you don't want all that insulation to get wet. You can see I got the hose coming right up inside my wet bay here, right to a Y splitter. And from that Y splitter, I have my black flush hooked up, so I can just switch that on when I need to easily, and my water, city water going right in there. So it's a nice, easy setup. Everything will stay warm in here. This area of the wet bay is obviously heated, so you don't have to worry about that. And you just plug it in right up here, and should be all set and good to go.
So as you guys can see, it's a pretty cheap, pretty easy, effective way to keep the water system running in the winter. Yes, we can fill up our freshwater tanks, but if you really have to, winter somewhere cold, you don't want to have to be constantly filling up the freshwater tank, getting the hose out, fill it up, putting the hose away. It's just a lot easier if you can run a heated water hose throughout the whole winter. That's what we did. This worked out great. Now, let's jump inside and switch over from talking about how to stay warm in winter in these things to talk about how to stay cool in these RVs during the summertime. I wanted to take that down so I could show you what is going on up here and talk about our next modification. You may have seen this one before. It's one of our more popular videos. That is this guy up here. Let me grab this camera and show you what I'm talking about. So this little boxed in area right here is just some insulated foam board with some AC, basically HVAC tape. And what we did here was, if you ever open up your air conditioning unit, you may notice there's a little dividing piece right here between the two sides. What this modification does is it's going to box off this plenum area and keep all the cold air safely tucked in this side. It's not going to let it escape anywhere. And inside here, I'll show you some footage where you can see it's actually built with a little triangle area that flows right into the ducts. What this is going to do is when the cold air comes out, it's going to push the air where it needs to go right into the ducts to get it out into your, well, RV quicker. Instead of the air just spinning around in this open area and kind of getting leaked into this side, this now forces the air directly into the air ducts, and it's going to push it through faster and harder. In turn, it's going to cool the RV down quicker. Now guys, this is a really cheap, easy, quick modification that is probably going to make the biggest results out of any modification you can do in your RV. If you have this style AC or similar where you can do this modification, please go check out this video. I'll have the link down below. You can also check it out up here. When this is over, go watch that one if this is something you need to do. Not one person I've come across who has done this modification has regretted it. The difference between how fast you can cool the RV down is extremely drastic. And speaking about keeping these RVs cooler and keeping the temperature down, I want to touch base on an important product that is not exactly a DIY modification, but it's a product that we really believe in, and you may have seen us talk about it in some previous videos, and that's the WAGGLE pet monitor. Because we love our dogs so much, and most of us do, they're like family. When these RVs get hot, they get extremely hot, like automobile hot, dangerous, deadly to your pets. That's why we love the WAGGLE pet monitor. Anytime that we lose power, when we're out and about hiking and doing long excursions and times when we can't take the dogs with us, on these hot summer days, it's a great peace of mind knowing that with the WAGGLE pet monitor, if we do lose power and we lose air condition, it's going to notify us right away that we've lost power. It runs on a Verizon network, so you don't have to worry about losing Wi-Fi. And it's going to give you a notification and let you know that, number one, you've lost power, and then it's going to keep giving you notifications depending on the parameters that you set of how hot it's getting in the RV and the humidity in the RV. This way you can get back, take care of your pets, and fix the situation. It's just a great peace of mind. It's extremely an important thing, I think, if you full-time RV or camp with pets. And it has a nice little app that anytime you want to just check in and see what's going on in the RV, see what the temperature is, you can also do that. So if you guys have never heard about it, go ahead and check that out, the WAGGLE Pet Monitor. Have some links down below to that as well. And you guys can use our code in the description and save some money with that, okay? Up to 55%, so you can't beat that. Okay, the next little simple DIY modification you guys can do, and you may see a recurring theme here, and if you have this, this is the return air for our furnace. Goes straight into our basement, and it's just open, big, basically open space going into the basement, which while that area is heated in the wintertime, it is not air conditioned in the summertime. So our basement gets, pretty hot, especially if we have the baggage doors open a lot, which we do. And you can just feel that air pumping into our mid-bunk room here. So if you have anything like this, you may want to find a way to cover that up. What we did was simply just take a piece of cardboard and some Reflectix, which we all know. I think we've all used Reflectix on windows and things like that. Very useful stuff. We use it in the back of our pantries. We use it in the bottom of our bed to either keep heat out or keep cold out. So we just simply did that, and we just keep it right in there during the summertime months when we're not running the heater anyways. So that just keeps that hot air from flowing in here, keeps it cooler in here, which is important because the thermostat for the whole RV is also in this room, which really isn't a good idea. Just remember that when winter time does come and you are going to start using your furnace again, to go ahead and open this back up, and you want to remove that so that you have your return air open. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, we're gonna actually stay right here in the mid-bunk, and this won't apply to everybody, but for anybody with the bunkhouse and kids, the next modification I want to talk about that you can just do yourself, which is kind of a big difference from how these RVs come, is build your own bunk bed or a bed. This was a project that was, really important to us. A lot of these RVs come with the little 2-seater couch in them that you can, fold out every night, pull out if you want your kid to sleep on it and make the bed every night. That's just not really practical if you're a full-time RVer. So the very first project we did, like almost 5 years ago now, was we built this elevated bed for him. And it's a very simple project. It's still lightweight. It's actually lighter than the couch. Something you can do very easily. If you have 2 kids, you can build bunk beds. He really likes this. We sleep adults in this bed. There's no issues with weight or, even length. As long as you're about maybe no taller than 6'1", this is gonna work for you. And it just opens up the room. It saves a lot of space. And it was an easy modification. And again, if you're looking at full-time RV and you have kids, something you may want to do down the road is just kind of get rid of the fold-up, bunks and things like that, and just build something that works for you and your space. And the last one on a quick list of some simple DIY modifications you can do, and that's going to be some sort of shoe storage space. Now, for many of us in fifth wheels, we have this space right here that I'm sitting on underneath the stairs. It's usually a big open voided space that you can't actually access from your basement, and that most of the time you don't have access from the interior of the RV. And it's actually a really good space, and RV companies are now starting to utilize it, and they're actually starting to leave the space underneath the stairs open to put your shoes. So what we did was we modified this and we opened it up. Now you can slip your shoes inside there. Our little guy keeps all his shoes in there. Sometimes we keep a dirty towel in there for the dogs when they come in with wet feet. And it just cleans up the entryway when we have all the shoes kicked around and laying around. So anything you can do specific to your RV, whether you have a travel trailer or fifth wheel, any kind of modification that you can kind of, build something or whatever you can do to find space to hide shoe storage is, it's really important because, we're in and out of these RVs all the time, and, camping, shoes are usually dirty, they start piling up, and there's just not usually a good solution for it. So if you don't have that storage, go ahead and check out underneath your steps. Maybe you can just make a simple pull-out drawer, or go ahead and just open it up, keep it open, we can slip them in. I just use some magnets, so this easily just flips down and then it closes up and the magnets keep it closed. There you go, guys, a couple cheap, easy, simple DIY modifications you can do to the RV just to make life a little bit easier in these things, whether it's creating storage, staying warmer, staying cooler, anything like that. As always, we appreciate you watching. Get out there, start your full-time RV adventure, because why wait? See you guys next time.